Okay, a couple more days of factoring. Today, what we're gonna do is give you problems that before we even look at factoring, how we've been doing it, we need to look for a GCF. Honestly, anytime you factor, you should try and look and see if you can make it simpler from the start. We've been working on how to factor it, but now we're going to look at making it simpler and then factoring. So if we look at each one of these, we find our greatest common factor. We know what number would go into all of those. 4, and since that first one is negative, let's do -4. Okay. Do they all have a variable? The same variable. They all have n, and they all have n squared. We want to go with the smallest that's in each of them, so n squared. So what we're going to do is write that out in front, 4n squared. But in order to write in parentheses, we have to divide each of them by that greatest common factor. So here, -4 divided by -4 will be 1. N to the 4th divided by n squared, we subtract our powers. 4 minus 2 is 2. 40 divided by -4, -10. 3 minus 2 gets us n to the 1st. -100 divided by -4 is +25, and our n squared just cancel. Now, this is a much easier thing to factor, isn't it? We don't have a 1 out in front, or we have a 1 out in front, so we can multiply basically by multiplying, we would get 25. But this says, what are factors of 25 that add to be 10? 5 and 5, there it is. And we need -10, so they both have to be -5. -5 plus -5 would be -10. So we still have our greatest common factor out in front. Now, x minus 5, x minus 5. These two are the same, so we do not stop right there since they are the same. X minus 5 squared with that greatest common factor out in front. The reason you have to keep including it is if we don't have it and we square that out, we would just end up with this. But then if we multiply that part in, we can get back to the original trinomial. Okay. So these are going to be a bit longer today. I'm not going to give us as many, but I'm going to make sure we work on those. First things first, we always look for our greatest common factor. 5a cubed b squared. And part of it, when you look at these today, at the start, they are much more involved. I will not lie about that. There's much more there than we've had. So, do we have a common number? Just one, but right. So now, do we have a common letter? A, and as you said, the smallest one is squared. I heard A squared. And they all have B's. The smallest B is then just B. So A squared B is going to go out in front. That means we need to divide each of them by A squared B. Okay, so we have 5. 3 minus 2 on the, right, yeah, 5AB plus, we get 3 A squared, our B's cancel, minus 2, or B squared. Now, when we look at that, we try and factor it. Normally, let's go back. Let's do the one we just did. We had a square at the front and a square at the back. We had 2 squares, but did we have a square in the middle? So what we could do is switch the order here. Sometimes that will be necessary, especially since we had variable, we had B at the end, A at the, and AB, we need to have the AB in the middle. Now, let's look at, we have a coefficient out in front. So if we have a coefficient out in the front, like we've done the last 2 days, we multiply those. So 3 times 2 is 6. The factors of 6. Let's subtract to be 5. It's going to be +5. So we need -1 positive 6. So 3a squared minus ab plus 6ab minus 2b squared. So we rewrote 5 as 6 and negative 1. Again, don't forget this. This is the part that's very easy to lose. It still has to be out in front. Okay. So 4 parts. What's common in these two? These two right here. A. So if we take out an A, we get 3A minus what? B. Okay, here we have 2B in both of them. So they both have B. 2B, so 3A, because our B's cancel, minus B. That's exactly the same, isn't it? So we get A plus 2B, 3A minus B. And again, don't forget our GCF. Our GCF is going to go, I didn't leave enough space. So it'd be A squared B. I did not do it. A squared B, parentheses, A plus 2B times 3A minus B. More involved, yes. Okay. Let's do one more of these. The biggest key is take your time, do a little bit, and then try not to rush through it. Josh, don't try and do it mentally. Okay. No, I'm just meaning the more you try to do it your head with these, the quicker you're going to get lost or lose something, and it's very easy to lose a part. So again, we have 4 terms, but we want to look at, is there anything common? That's on all these problems today. See if you can find anything common. Sometimes you might not, but that is a great place to start. Is there a GCF? Anything common in each of these? B. And it's as simple as B, but is that all it's just? Yeah. But sometimes that will make it so much easier to work. So we have B right now with A squared C minus 4C, A squared minus 4. All right. 4 terms. What do we do? Cut it in half. What's common in these two? C. So I'm going to circle this and put an arrow down here so we use it at the end. So we get C, A squared minus 4. What's common in these? There's nothing besides 1, but we need to write down 1. So there's a 1 there, and it's positive. So then we're left with A squared minus 4, which leaves these the same. So that is correct. So now we have C plus 1, A squared minus 4, bring down our B. But now we look at it. This last one, another word for subtraction, Andrew, when we subtract is difference of 2 squares. So it can be factored. Difference of squares. Remember, if we had something like this, 1 was plus, 1's minus, and then 16 is 4 and 4. So in this case, A minus 2, A plus 2. Again, those could be switched around. Bring down the rest of our parts. So in this case, we had 4 factors for our answer, which could be. Okay. Sometimes it might just be 2, sometimes it might be. But once you get to this part, make sure you can't do any more. Because if you leave this as your final answer, you haven't gone far enough. Kind of like in fractions, if you left it, you went from this to this, you're not simplified all the way. So that would still be considered wrong because it's not simplest form. Okay. Like I said, I want to do some today. These take a little bit longer, so I'm not going to give you a ton of them. Let's look at page 220. 28. All right, let's do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 questions. 7, 13, 17, 21, 25, 29, 33 on page